everybody, and welcome back to our channel. Today I have a little bit of a different video that I wanted to do. I joined up with a whole bunch of other mummies for a parenting, not a tag, but like a collaboration on everybody's different parenting styles, because everybody parents their kids completely differently, and I don't think there's any wrong way to parent your kid or kids, but there's obviously different ways, and everybody has to make choices that best fit their family. So I have notes. I'm old school. I handwrite my notes because I do my filming on my cell phone, so I can't just look at that. There are different types of parenting. There's 4 different parenting styles. Authoritarian has strict rules, punishments for broken rules, high demands, not responsive to children. Essentially those people that are like, if you've ever read Tiger Mother, you know, the parents that just demand perfection of their kids at all times, and they don't think that they should have to answer questions. Basically, their response is because I said so, and kids are expected to not question anything that the parents say because parents are the boss, right? Authoritative is responsive, willing to listen, more nurturing and forgiving, assertive, not intrusive. So they still have somewhat high expectations of their kids, but they're more open to questions, and they're more open to just being there more and kind of helping them a little bit more, versus having them just kind of, you know, nope, this is what I told you to do, there's no other way around it. Permissive is indulgent, few demands, rarely discipline. You know, those like spoiled ones, and their parents never discipline them, so they get whatever they want. And I find oftentimes those kids are mean because their parents don't, they don't make them adhere to any kind of standards. The people who think that their kids can kind of do no wrong. Now, I'm not saying all kids of people who parent this way are awful kids. I'm not saying that at all. And uninvolved, so low responsive, detached, the ones who just are like, okay, figure it out yourself, fend for yourself, make your own food, you know what I mean? Those kinds of people. I grew up with between authoritarian and authoritative. I had punishments, and my parents, I found, were not super responsive to me, but it wasn't so strict, and they didn't expect like every, you know what I mean? Like I had to be the best at everything, and you know what I mean? If I didn't do well in something, it wasn't the biggest deal. And then I would say I'm part authoritative because they were willing to listen. If I had questions, they did respond to me. I did find my parents not to be as nurturing. I found that they didn't understand me. So when I said, oh, I'm upset because of this, or they would just tell me to suck it up. So they didn't necessarily listen to when I had those kind of issues, because I was supposed to just figure it out myself, not be a big baby about it. My parenting is, honestly, my parenting is a little bit of all 4. So I would say I'm an authoritarian because I do have punishments, and they're expected to follow the rules, but it's not so harsh where it's like, oh, hey, you know, I'm going to chop off your hand if you don't, you know, get straight A's at school or whatever. I'm authoritative in the way that I really, flat out, I don't want my kids to grow up to be little jerks. And I'm trying very hard to make sure that they are accepting of other people, and that they are kind to people just because that's the right thing to do. I do find myself quite nurturing. Not necessarily babying, but I can be very assertive, and I can be very disciplined with them. Permissive, I mean, I do definitely indulge them a little bit too much, especially when it comes to treats and that kind of stuff, but that's kind of it, because I definitely discipline, because I believe that discipline kind of makes a better person if it's done properly and for the right reasons. And uninvolved, I would say that sometimes I am detached. Sometimes I don't want to play with my kids, and sometimes I want them to just leave me alone and go play by themselves. I don't want to have to do it all the time. So I do sometimes turn myself off and I get detached from them because I need a break, or they're bugging me, or you know what I mean? So I can't, I think if I was going to fit into one more natively, it would be authoritative, because I am the boss, but I still don't expect so much that they have stress and not able to deliver what I expect of them. As far as like attachment parenting and stuff, I am not really like that. I never really co-slept, though of course now we are, because my 3-year-old only wants to fall asleep in my bed, but I wouldn't say that's necessarily co-sleeping, because I move him as soon as he falls asleep into his own bed. I did let them cry it out. I believe I did it with all 3 of them, not to an excess where they were stressed, but that was my choice, and if I could handle it, like I said, it wasn't to the point where they were stressed. I mean, they're older now, they obviously don't do it anymore. Worked for us, but it's not for everybody. Daycare. My youngest son goes to daycare because I have a part-time job, but he's been in daycare the last year as a break for myself. My husband works out of town, so basically I do all things parenting, house, everything. So I needed that to get a break. My daycare provider is amazing. She's become my best friend, so I absolutely trust in her. They all went to preschool. My youngest has 1 more year of preschool, and I do that for a different kind of socialization from daycare. My youngest is the only one that's ever been in daycare, but I found it a different socialization. It was more of a structured socialization where they had to, I kind of looked at it as like a pre-kindergarten training, if you will. And my 3-year-old, who will be 4 this summer, he will be in preschool again next year. As like we do activities, my middle son enjoys sports. They like to ride their bikes. I let them kind of roam around town. We live in a small town, but I do have rules as far as when they need to be home, how often they need to check in. I take them to playgrounds. We go to Disneyland. We go to the beach. We do a lot of stuff. I'm not the make crafts at home kind of person. I'm not, oh, hey, let's all cook together. I can't do that. That stresses me out. So I'd rather take them to the beach, take them to the park, take them to the library, take them to, you know what I mean? As far as punishment, I believe that punishments are necessary in helping a child learn just the rights and wrongs of the world. I think that punishment should always fit the crime. For example, I knew a girl who bought her son a brand new bed. He wouldn't eat his dinner one night, so she took his bed away from him. I mean, that punishment does not fit that crime. So I think, like, for example, if you don't want to eat your dinner, that's fine. It's still going to be there, you know, when you get hungry later. And if you don't want to eat it, then you can wait until breakfast. I'm not a short order cook, so I don't just make whatever they want. I think that, I think school for me is a big deal. So if my kids were, you know, not behaving at school, that has an absolute different punishment, because to me, the way I look at school for them right now, my oldest is in he's almost done grade 6. My middle son is almost done grade 4. And that's their job. So I don't expect perfection. I don't expect straight A's. I don't expect any of that stuff. But I do expect that they go to school and they try their best with whatever activity or task they're given. So, I mean, if you get a C but you tried your best, great. If you get an A and you tried your best, great. You know what I mean? I don't pay for grades. I think that's stupid. As far as sports and stuff, I know people who pay for hockey goals, soccer goals. I don't do that. I think that you should do it for fun. Am I happy with how I would have, am I happy with how I parent? Yes and no. I have been told several times how well behaved my boys are. My 3-year-old is a handful. He is very difficult to take out places. And I think it's because he's the baby and I have been a little bit, well, quite a bit more lax with him. I would like to be engaged with them more. I would like to be more attached. I would like to be more just there, you know what I mean? But it's hard because I have my own struggles and my own stuff that I go through as well, and they don't understand it, so I can't push that, you know, on them. That's adult things. So I wish that I could handle just being, you know, playing with them more and doing activities, cooking with them, and not so spread out, whereas one person's on the computer, one person's on the Wii, one person's upstairs, you know what I mean? I don't love that, but I do also think at times it's good for everybody to separate and gather themselves and relax and whatever. Do I yell? At times. I used to yell a lot more than I currently do. I do spank. No excuse, but I only spank when, like for example, last week or the week before, my middle son ran out into the middle of the road and a car was coming. When I got him onto the sidewalk on the other side, I did actually spank his bum as a shock to him to realize that that was dangerous. That's not an everyday thing. That's not even a monthly thing. That's like once, maybe every 6 months. Yeah. Overall, though, I think that a person can have their own parenting style, but I think because every kid is such an individual, you do really kind of have to modify it per child. For example, my oldest son is autistic. I don't let him use it as an excuse, not for most things anyways. So, yes, that he struggles with friendship, he struggles with other kids. That is why. That is one of the excuses I give as to why he struggles with that. But as far as going to school and doing his work, being expected to do his work to the best of his ability, being kind to other people, that sort of thing, no, he is 100% capable of being that kid. I do parent him differently. He does have responsibilities, more so than the others. He is extremely responsible. And I kind of expect more responsibility out of him. My middle son, I expect, I'm kind of hard on him because he's extremely, he's really lazy. So I'm always on him about, oh, pick up this, don't forget to do that, don't forget to take this to school, you know, clean up this mess, take that downstairs, don't get crumbs here, don't, you know what I mean? I have to constantly remind him. That being said, he is the kid who brings home A's and B's, and he is the kid who is like literally kind to every single person. He is the kid who doesn't see the differences in other people. Like, everybody is people to him. So he gets a little bit, like, he very rarely gets in trouble. So when he does, he gets in big trouble, and it's like a shock almost to him and myself, like both of us, because it just is so rare. Now, my youngest son, like I said, I'm a little bit more lenient, but he is only 3. I'm starting to get a little bit harder on him because he's 4 in 2 months, and he's a young 3. Like, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like, he can't sit in a restaurant. He won't walk nicely and hold your hand. He's the one that wants to beeline through the parking lot. He's the one that wants to run around restaurants, and he wants to run around stores, and he's not happy unless he's doing like only exactly what he wants. He doesn't like to do what other people want him to do. He's extremely strong-willed and always has been. So while I feel extremely attached to him, I also feel that detachment from him because I struggle so badly with him. Thus him being in daycare before I started to work. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I see this video is already like 15 minutes and nobody wants to watch this for that long. So if you made it through, oh my goodness, thank you so much. That's just a part of a little bit of how I do things. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer anything. I'm pretty open, so it's, you know, I'm nothing really, I mean, I get bothered by things, but I'm pretty open. Please, please, please be sure to check out all the other ladies that joined this collab. And, where the website that it says like the type of parenting and stuff, I will link that down below in the description, just so that if you wanted to read up on and figure out maybe what type of parenting style you have, or what type of parenting style you think you might have if you don't have kids yet. Feel free to check it out. It's actually a really, really good read. And I didn't explain them very well because I'm not so good at that. But I tried, and yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, be sure to leave them and check out everyone else. And thank you so, so much for watching. Bye.